first. Okay. So in our previous lectures, we discussed the concept, scope of ecological chemistry, as well as a little bit details about the pheromones and their uses. If I ask you what are the differences between pheromones and hormones, can anyone tell me? What are the differences between pheromones and hormones? There are some differences. Shafi?
Yes, hormones are produced inside the body, and it works internally. But pheromones are goes outside of the body and for another's species.
Yes, can anyone tell me a little uh, more precise way? Ruhul Amin?
Yes, sir. In case of
What is the
pheromone,
difference between pheromones and hormones?
hormones hormones are secreted from endocrine gland, and they are transported through ductless. They are transported through the duct to the remote target area. And in case of pheromone, it's secreted externally and used to attract the other same species.
Okay. And next, Rahat, what do you think? The difference between hormone and pheromone? Rahat, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I
Please
can
tell
hear.
me, what do you understood by the two terms, hormones and pheromones?
Sir, I think pheromones and hormones both actually produce inside the body, but pheromones work functions outside the body, but hormones works inside the body.
Okay, great. And how about Joy Devnath? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I
Tell
can hear
me
us.
the differences between pheromone and hormone.
Sir, I think hormone actually works. Hormone actually the property of the organism itself, but pheromone actually can be worked within the species or within different species. This kind of have a broad sense of work, whereas hormone have limited activity, only bound in the body itself, the organism.
Great. And how about Kanis Fatima? What is your opinion or your understanding about the differences between hormones and pheromones? Kanis Fatima?
Sir, actually hormones are, yes sir. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Fatima.
Hello sir.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes sir. Sir, actually uh, Joy Devnath said something about a hormone and pheromone. It's according to my thinking, it's correct. And actually, I think pheromones are a specialized type of hormone, and uh, there is a very precise difference between these two things. Hormones may be of various, what should I say, various for various purposes, and pheromones are specialized type of hormone.
Mhm.
hormones that has the specific purpose.
Okay. Then what can we make from all of your
Here,
understanding if
should I
we
add something?
sum up? Pheromones and hormones both are biochemicals. They are biosynthesized in the cell, and pheromone and a hormone, uh, both are active at very low concentration. They are signaling molecules, but hormone, they are produced in endocrine glands, special glands, and uh, have serious, profound physiological impacts in the producer, and it works inside the cell. Uh, but pheromones, they are obviously produced in the living organism, and it is excreted from the body of the living organism, uh, and it works on the specific target organism in the especially in the same species. For example, a male insect produce a pheromone, like sex pheromone. It When it excrete, it attract the female and also stimulate the female for copulation or like that. Sometimes another example can be uh, wasp or honeybee. They produce alarm pheromone and excrete from the body to tell the message to others in the same species, uh, and they work on not inside the producer, rather outside the producer and other members of the same species. Okay, very good. We are now familiar to hormones and pheromones, and you also know their function. Today we shall discuss another interesting topic. Uh, Possibly all of you love, I'm sure all of you love flowers. And flowers are really very attractive and mysterious. All over the world, people love flowers. But flowers, they are actually sex organ of the plant, but we use for our different cultural activities, decorating as well as presenting one another, celebrating or like that. Flower, the attractive color as well as the fragrances uh, uh, have the some ecological significance. Why? Flowers are diverse in color, diverse in structure. Their architecture are really incredibly diverse. And why some of the flowers have, a fragrant compound, that is aromatic compound, fragrance or scent. So we shall discuss the how to say ecological chemistry of flower colors as well as the fragrance and other biochemicals involved in pollination, because flowers have all those properties, that visual cues like flower structure, color, as well as sensory cues like fragrance. uh, and some flowers have also nectars. All those uh, materials, or the phenotype we can see, they are associated with some ecochemicals. And the main purpose of having all those properties in the flower is the purpose of attracting the pollinators for their pollination. Why? Because plants are, sitting duck. Plants cannot move away from one place to another for the pollination. especially for sexual reproduction. In that case, they need some chemical means to invite the pollinators, those who help them for the pollination, cross fertilization. So this is really mysterious, I guess, in your plant physiology course or crop botany or other subjects you might study botany, you might have profound knowledge about the pollination. But in this course, we shall discuss more in depth about the chemistry, that is ecological chemistry. That means the interactions between pollinators and the flower plants. Here you know that how pollen, pollen when transferred to the stigma of the flowers, then it fertilizes the egg and then a fruit is set. So the transfer of pollen from male anther to the female stigma is called, the process is called pollination. So it can be happened through the wind also, but in some cases, some plants, some species, it requires some agent we called pollinator. So why pollination is important? Because it is very important for sexual reproduction, and it is important for the evolution. The diversity in the plant kingdom we can see is associated with the sexual reproduction, because recombination and reshuffling of the genes are taken place in the Oryza sativa, for example, rice. Rice is our staple food. But in Bangladesh, more than 7,000 different genotypes are preserved in the gene bank of BRI, Bangladesh Rice Research Institute. That means over the years of reproduction process and exchange of genes, lots of variations have been developed. So it is very, very important for evolutionary process. All the diversity we can see in the plant kingdom, a large proportion is associated with the pollination. So sexual reproduction produces variable offsprings, creating diversity and variation among populations, a shuffling of genes. You know, the Gregor Johann Mendel and his laws, how, when crossing between two dissimilar uh, parents, how the transfer of genes create a diversity. You need variation for natural selection to occur, because in breeding as well as for improvement we need such a variation, and variation means phenotypic variation helps the breeder to choose to dissimilar parent for the classical breeding. Even in genetic engineering, based on the variation, we can do the genome sequencing and find out the responsible genes for the variation or unique trait of an organism. So sexual reproduction is advantageous to an organism only if it happens with someone other than itself. Outbreeding, it is called outbreeding. Outbreeding is good, but inbreeding is not good. Inbreeding depression is occurs, so it is not good. So sexual reproduction in animals is easy because you have a separate male and female individuals. For example, cow or a sheep or goat. But in flowering plants, not so easy, because most flowers have both male and female parts in them. Same flower you can find male parts, and same flower you can find female parts, and it is called perfect flowers. So flowering plants have evolved special ways to ensure outbreeding or outcrossing, and to prevent inbreeding. So function of flowers, obviously all of you know that, to attract pollinators with colorful petals, scent, nectar and pollen. So colorful petals, we shall discuss why so variation in the colors and what are the chemical means of color. That is, colors are basically some chemical substances, pigments. uh, they are found in the petal of the flower. Scent, obviously the fragrant compound, they are also chemical substances. Nectar contains nutritious substances like uh, sugar, amino acids and others. So nectar, uh, obviously a big lure or reward for the pollinator, and we can get honey from the nectar collected by the honeybee, and then they process, digest the nectar and make the complex form of honey, and preserve in their you know hive for future food source. Pollen are also, they are male uh, male reproductive cell, and pollen are basically contains the protein, and pollen are also rich source of food for the insect. So here you can see the structure of a flower. This is peduncle, uh, receptacle here, and this is the sepal, and this is the petal, the colorful. Some flowers, sepal also colorful. And this is the filament, this is anther, that means this total is male reproductive organ called stamen. There are several stamen, and this is the female reproductive organ, consists of ovary and stigma, and this is the style. So pollen from the anther, if transfer on the stigma is a bit sticky on the tip of the stigma, it moves to the ovary and fertilize the egg, and fruit develops. So this is the simple uh, presentation of a flower. And flower, here you can see lots of diverse in architecture, diverse in color, diverse in beauty, diverse in fragrance. So overview of a floral organs already I discussed in the previous slide. Here again you can see the stigma, style, ovary, and this is the ovule. So enter from uh, this stamen, if moves to the stigma, then fertilization is taken place. So pollinators, this is another key word. Many flowering plants rely on animals for cross-pollination. And animals are insects, bees, wasps, flies, butterflies, moth. They are the major insect group. They are involved in pollination. Birds like hummingbirds, honey creepers, they also do pollination in some flowers. Mammals, bats, mice, monkeys, some mammals also involved in pollination. Even some reptiles and amphibians also involved in pollination. That means there are not common pollinators for all plants. Pollinators have some specificity for pollinating the specific plants, and there are some specific rewards for the pollinators for doing the job. And depending on the pollinators, flower structures also, and colors also evolved in a way so that the pollinators can easily do the pollination. So if you see the flower structure, you can understand which one is should be pollinated by the bird or specific insect. Co-evolution, this is another important term. Co-evolution means interactions between two different species as selective forces on each other, resulting in adaptations that increase their interdependency. Co-evolution, that means two organisms, those are interdependent. When they are morphologically or physiologically changed, they change in a way that both can benefit from each other and to maintain the relationship. Animal flowering plant interaction is a classical example of co-evolution. Plants evolve elaborate methods to attract animal pollinators. Animals evolved specialized body parts and behaviors that aid plant pollination. So these are the co-evolution between uh, pollinators and plants. And co-evolution, if you in the biology, if you cite an example, pollinator and plants, the co-evolutionary process is really a bright example. The pollen, the shape and form of pollen is related to its method of pollination. You see, we never thought that the shape and form of the pollen also varied among the flowers. Insect pollinated uh, pollen should be pollinated species have sticky pollen. Those are pollinated by the insect. Sticky or barbed pollen. I can show you the structure. You see, scanning electron microscope. If you see a pollen grain, you can see this type of barbed pollen, and they are sticky so that they can stick on the leg or mouth parts of the insect. And when insect travels from one flower to another flower, insect can carry thousands of pollen in their leg and mouth parts and transmit from one pollen to the stigma of the other flower for cross pollination. Here you can see the scanning, clear scanning electron micrograph of a structure of a pollen. Wind pollinated species is lightweight. Some plants are pollinated by the wind. In that case, reasonably they are lightweight, small, and smooth. For example, corn pollen. Corn pollen is like this. Corn means maize, and easily transfer from one plant to another by wind. And the study of pollen, there is a subject called palynology. So palynology is a branch of science which deals with the structure and other properties of the pollen. Animal pollinators like bees. Bees are the most important group of flower pollinators. Bees are very busy, and they travel one flower to another flower to collect the nectar. And during the process, they pollinate the flower. They live on the nectar and feed larvae. Also eat pollen. They also eat pollen. Bees are guided by sight and smell. So bees are guided by sight, means color as well as the smell. So they can sense these two ways. Uh, Bees can see yellow and blue colors and also ultraviolet light, not red. That means bee has some capacity to see clearly see the yellow and blue colors and also ultraviolet light, because some flowers look like white, but when sunlight pass through, ultraviolet ray pass through, they look like different color. and bee can see, but we cannot distinguish it. Bee has the eyesight very powerful. So flowers have honey guides. Another thing is flowers have honey guides and bee landing platform. You see, I told you the co-evolutionary process. So where a bee should be landed, bee should land on the flower. So flower morphologically evolved in a way so that they can offer a landing platform as well as honey guide. Honey guide means in the petal they can advertise that they have the honey. For example, here you can see these are the how to say honey guide, and here we can land landing platform also. So butterflies and moth also guided by sight and smell, like the bee. Butterflies can see red and orange flowers. They cannot see other colors. Very interesting. So butterfly you can see on the red and orange flowers, most of them, usually shaped as a long tube because of insects proboscis. But butterfly mouth parts is like a straw to get the nectar from the inside. So here you can see the long tube of the flower. So nectar is at the base. So uh, the butterfly has a siphoning type mouth parts. So the straw it keeps always in coiled. So when they travel the flower, they open the straw and suck the nectar from that tube. So this is very interesting. Moth pollinated flowers are usually white or pale color and with sweet or strong odor for night pollination, because moth usually travels the flower at night. In that case, and night blossom flowers, they have strong fragrance or scent, so that a moth can easily find the flower. Here you can see moth pollinated flower. Uh, Flies and beetles. Flies like flowers that smell like dung or rotten meat. Lay their eggs there, but larvae die due to lack of food. So beetles pollinate flowers that are dull in color but have very strong odor. In case of beetles, flowers must have a strong odor. So the scientists already studied the ecological chemistry of different pollinators and the flowers. For example, a bird like a hummingbird. Here you can see the flower shape. Birds have a good sense of color. And hummingbird, the smallest bird, and they have good sense of color, and they like yellow or red colors. And but birds do not have a good sense of smell. So bird pollinated flowers usually have little odor, and flowers provide fluid nectar in greater quantities than the insect, because bird size body weight is heavier than the insect. This is why they need more nectar for their nutrition. And nectar, here you can see different flower pollination by the birds. Hummingbird pollinated flowers usually have long tubular corolla, a long and tubular corolla. So its beak is very long and can easily pass through to the source of nectar. And pollen is large and sticky. In case of bird pollinated flowers, pollens are large and sticky because it needs to stick on the beak, and they are larger. Uh, Mammals, bats, and mice also pollinate. Bats pollinate at night, so flowers are white. So most of the flowers at night they are white, and mouse pollinated flowers are usually inconspicuous. They open at night only. Uh, So why do animals pollinate plants? This is a fundamental question. uh, they get reward, that means food, in exchange for moving their pollen to another flower. Uh, and what are the reward? Nectar, a sugary solution produced in special flower glands called nectaries. And nectar concentration matches energy requirements of the pollinator. This is very interesting. That means the nectar, uh, uh, the chemical composition of nectar and is designed in a way so that it satisfies the energy requirement of the pollinator, for example bird or bees or like that. So bird and bee pollinated flowers have different sugar concentration because they require different amount and level of sugar. Pollen is high in protein. Some bees and beetles eat it and get the nutrition. Flowers can produce two kinds of pollen, a normal and a sterile, but a tasty kind for their insects. So some insect loves to eat pollen. So pollen is a protein source. Nectar also contains a sugary solution, some amino acids and some other nutritious substances, even some toxic substances for other insects or other non-desirable insects. Getting the pollinator's attention. To get the attention of the pollinator, plants advertise their pollen and nectar towards with colors. Bees see blue and yellow and UV light, and while birds see red, bats don't see well, so flowers are white. Uh, Nectar or honey guides, these are the honey guides, you see, honey guides, a visual guide for pollinator to locate the reward, a pansy flower, for example. So petals, various colors of petals and pollen, they advertise the source of reward that will get the pollinator so that they pollinate. Actually unconsciously they pollinate. They comes for their own food and interest, and unconsciously they do the pollination. And it's really mysterious how this type of phenotypic as well as a relationship, a chemical ecochemical relationship have been established over the years. So aroma for insects and nectar, they also advertise aroma, can also be a carrion or a dance smell, different kinds of aroma in the flowers. So plant mimicry, this is another. Some plants take advantage of the sex drive of certain insects. This is very funny. And certain orchids look like female wasps and even smell like them. So it is here you can see it is look like an insect female. So male comes to copulate, uh, and it is a mimic. And meanwhile, flowers get pollinated. So males tries to mate with them, and in the process they pollinate the plant. So funny. The orchid gets pollinated, but the male wasp only gets frustrated because it also this type of cheating also present in nature. Adaptation for pollination. Attraction, visual cues, color, shape, size, if we summarize, and olfactory cues, scent and odor. Then reward, nectar, sucrose, water, amino acids, pollen, vitamins, minerals, and proteins in the pollen, and behavior. The insect, like other organisms or pollinator, they also love the beautiful color architecture. So recreational motivation is also another lure. Uh, this is really scent and alternate attractant. For example, sometimes the scent is reward. a behavioral reward. So reward is different types. So different flowers have different types of structure to different types of scent to attract the pollinator. Beetles as pollinators, lousy flight accuracy, heavy feeding they need, and target is large flower, alternate entry, heavy flower parts. In case of beetle, beetle is a bit heavier. Pollen load is heavy in case of beetle. So Fantasy Island, you can see hovering birds and sequence. Here you can see the flowers. Some of the flowers they are architecturally in a shape so that they can welcome the pollinator in a perfect way. This is very interesting. And Darwin, Charles Darwin, more than 300 years, nearly 300 years ago, he was very famous for his book, The Origin of Species. And he did lots of work and he traveled 5 years all over the world. In a ship called Beagle, and he is called the father of the evolution because he observed the evolutionary process. Here is an example. Darwin described an orchid, uh, Angra, as Angracum sesquipedale from Madagascar with 11.5 inches nectar spur. A nectar spur is this spur is 11.5 inches. So he thought to get the nectar from this flower, there might be a butterfly. He predicted that there would be a pollinator animal with 11.5 inches mouth parts to drink the nectar, but he never found that animal at that time. But later, much later in 1903, Gentupan morgani predicta, its pollinator was found with an 11.5 inches siphoning mouthparts. So this is all about today's talk, and we shall discuss in our next talk in detail about the biochemistry. So biochemistry or ecological chemistry of pollination is that when insects, bats, birds visit flowers to feed on or collect for future consumption the nectar and pollen, they usually pollinate the flowers in the process so that both partners clearly benefit from this mutualistic association. Three biochemical factors are involved: scent, color of the flower, nutritional value of the nectar and pollen. And huge studies have been done on these three components or three biochemical parameters. So we shall discuss in our next lecture in detail about the biochemistry of scent, color of the flower, as well as nutritional composition of nectar and pollen. So this is all for today. If you have any question, please ask me, and we can also discuss how can we avoid Thursday and set a time which is convenient for all of you. Uh, I have other courses also. It is a bit challenging, but we can find a solution. So if you have a question, please ask me. Just unmute yourself and ask the question. Is it
Sir,
interesting? Or have you really
sir,
understood my lecture, or did you find any difficulty, Sorwardi?
I- Sir, it's really interesting, and I did not find any difficulties.
Okay, excellent. Do anyone have any question? If no question, then thank you so much for attending this talk. Tomorrow you have the free time, and you have the weekends also. So during that period, try to write a small, how to say, small report on the concept uh, and scope of ecological chemistry in respect of Bangladesh. Uh, you can write like this way: concept and scopes of ecological chemistry. You can put the colon and then write Bangladesh perspective. Uh, in Bangladesh perspective, how uh, uh, ecological chemistry you can define first, and then its scope in case of Bangladesh. In respect of Bangladesh, you can describe global aspect. Obviously, you describe, and within 1,000 word, you can write such a small report. And next class, I shall expect in Sunday. On Sunday, you will submit that report. Very brief, but I can assess that report to understand whether you can follow my lecture or not. For example, flower colors. Flower colors are the basis of colors we are using in our fabrics. Uh, uh, all the color you are using in your dresses. First, people discovered colors from the nature, and those pigments used as dye, textile dye, and long time they were used as the safest natural dye for making the beautiful clothes like that. But recently, synthetic dye replaced vastly, and synthetic dyes are a bit problematic for the environment, but natural dyes are good. Flower scent, they are the main source of perfume industry. But most of the perfumes you can find commercially available. They are from the synthetic origin. So when scientists discovered the chemical formula structure of the scent, and then they synthesize, because you cannot extract all the scent from the flowers to satisfy huge demand of the human. But if you want to get, for example, few milliliter of original flower extract like rose or jasmine, incredibly expensive. But synthetic one, most of the cases in your perfume bottle, if you see the chemical composition, they are the blend of different aromatic compound discovered from the nature, as well as some of them are synthetic. But ecological chemistry, many of the antibiotics as well as pharmaceutical drugs, they are discovered from the different organisms as ecochemicals, and later they were uh, and discovered that they are the good medicine for the human, as well as good for the human health. Some of them are cosmetics also. For example, antioxidant, as beautification cream, beauty cream, or sunscreen. All of them are basically originated from the natural sources, and they are discovered as ecochemicals. Lots of promising uh, um, information you can include in your 1,000 words concept and scope of ecological chemistry in Bangladesh perspective. I hope you will write a nice story based on the current knowledge, as well as from my lecture. I wish you good luck. Do you have any question? If no question,
Sir,
yes, Fatima?
I have something to say you. Hello,
Your network possibly a bit.
sir.
Poor. Yeah.
For me, I don't know about others. Evening time making
Evening
serious
time is problematic for you. So what you do in your group, Facebook group, please
sir,
discuss and find some alternatives so that.
during night or evening time, internet makes serious problem. Today
Okay, I
I
understood. I
could not
understood your
follow
point.
your
So
lecture
please
clearly.
discuss in your group and find a suitable time. And what I shall do, I shall also share my other schedule of my other courses so that you can avoid the overlapping. Thank you so much.